This show contains adult content. Viewer and listener discretion is advised. Welcome to another edition of Up and In It, guys. I'm your host, Adrian Babashoff, and if you're new here, welcome as well. And if you're wondering what the show is about, it's entirely dedicated to improving quality of life for both people and planet through liberation and independence, moving you from surviving to thriving and living life raw. Today's episode 151, focusing on the thing to gain success, and I call it the thing. The thing is whatever it is that you're looking for, the thing that you're looking to attain, success. I don't know any other way to coin this thing, and maybe I might change the name before I publish this particular episode, but we're all after something, and there's a lot of people out there that will block you. There's a lot of people who aren't after anything. They don't even know there's a thing to get. You know, there's that saying, there's three types of people. There's people who make things happen, people who watch things happen, and people who wonder, is something supposed to happen? And I think there's just, I don't know, like my first note here is uselessness of taking credit. I don't think that people like Elon Musk or anybody else who's done some crazy stuff, myself, the things that I've successfully achieved, not really looking for credit. And there's a lot of stuff that I've taken from other people and improved upon it, which I want to touch on a little bit later on the show. But it's uselessness of taking credit. The people, as I just said, opening up, telling you, like, you know, for instance, I told you that like 2 years ago, man. You know, I'm the one who introduced you to this, that. Who gives a shit? You know, these people aren't focusing on the thing, the functionality of this thing, whatever it is that you're after. And I think these people are poison. And I think that we need to eradicate these people from our lives. And I've spoken about this on the show before. Trust me, guys, it's not very easy. There's people very, very close to you. For some of you, it may be family members. It could be best friends. You know, the people you hang out with definitely affect you. And if you've got these negative nannies, these people that are, you know, very easily, it's very simple in life. Either people make you feel good or they don't. And when you're after a particular something, the thing, and there's people blocking you from it, I think it's common sense. Only you know. We need to get rid of them. And I'm here to tell you, as your ambassador of the alternative lifestyle design, as I like to call it, a lot of the things that things that I've done is because of eradicating people. And it's the shrapnel that's left over, you know, the emotional feelings and stuff like that. But when you get zeroed in and stop focusing on those people and start focusing on the thing, then all things start to happen. There's a thing I saw on TikTok, and this guy was saying that a lot of billionaires, like the question was, what do you see as similarities in all these billionaires? You know, what is one thing? He says a lot of them are introverts, and a lot of them they just focus on what they're doing, and they're not really loudmouth people that need to go prove or say something, as I was just speaking about. And it's a very common trait, and I think that these people are focused definitely on the thing. If making $1 billion is your thing, then cool, you know, go for it. I don't really quite see that as an achievement. I'd rather see that I've built something that's made a difference in the world, or, I don't know, makes me truly happy, because money wouldn't really make me happy. It would make my life a lot easier, having a lot more money, but I choose not to take that road. I don't want to go through what those people have to go through, that amount of focusing to achieve that sort of thing. So, no, it's not my thing, but I do understand it. But I thought it was very interesting that a lot of these people are introverts. And that's kind of like me as well. I'm very self-focused. When I see the thing, I really don't see anybody else around me. All I see is the thing. And I hope that, as far as taking credit, I hope that one day I'm completely redundant, you know, to my children, to anybody who listens and been following the show. I hope that I'm redundant, and I hope that you get what you can off the things that I have to offer, and I wish to glean the things that you guys have to offer, and things from my children. We learn from each other. I think that's probably the biggest mistake in humanity, is that a lot of us think that we know everything. We think that we got it all under control. And you guys should have seen the look on my daughter's face when I told her, a 14-year-old kid, that she teaches me every single day. And I can't wait to learn from her instead of me just teaching her. And some of those things, if you may ask, is just how to play, how to not take things so serious, how to still have even more magic and wonderment of a child in your life. You see, we start out when we're children, I think, and we're very happy. We're very inquisitive. You know, we have a lot of imagination. We have, a lot of curiosity to things, and we're born with a smile, you know. And then as we progress, you could see that smile start to leave. You can see that twinkle start to leave out of people's eyes, where we've got rationalization and computing information, and I don't know, we get all jumbled up. And I think that's some of the greatest lessons that we can learn from our own children, or just children in general, is to be free, be happy. So moving forward here, I don't want to talk about expansion of great ideas. And I want to start out with, well, let's explain that a little bit, I guess, here is that there's this day and age just excites the hell out of me, because there's so much information. There's so many things out there. With YouTube, especially, this doesn't really have to be just YouTube, but just video in general. Very beautiful things. You could see landscapes and animals and insects and microbiology and biology just in space and all of these things, you know, outer space and planets and stars and all of these things on video. And beyond that, there's like so many cool things. Like I look at for this show, I've developed my life. That's the reason why I'm here doing what I'm doing, is that I've watched a lot of shows and watched a lot of videos, and I'm very obsessed with changing my life and trying to figure out, is there a different way? And I learned so much, from permaculture, growing my own food, to producing my own energy, to making money, to sales. I think one of the most profound things I just heard from, I think it's Grant Cardone. I don't really follow the guy too much. I just listen to some things here and there that he says, but he keeps giving me the bait to come back. And this is what he said, and this is the way I interpret it. He said that, why would anybody ever invest in a house? He says that's the wrong thing. Nobody should invest into a home. You should invest your money into a business. A business actually makes you money. And if you're looking to retire, putting money in a bank and having it just sit there does nothing for you. So you pack up all this money, and I think that's one of the problems that we have in our society as well, is that a lot of people are saving money. And what happens with inflation and all kinds of things like that, that the money value that it was 20 years ago is not what it is today. And if we had a business and this mindset, if we kept working on things like this, taking things, expansion of great ideas, such as what Grant Cardone is suggesting here, I think it could change the course of your life. So in my arena, just today actually, I went to my garden. I show up once a week. I've expanded upon some great idea of square foot gardening. And I found that I had mice. I thought that I've eradicated the problem with the right mice and I know with other rodents and stuff getting into my garden. And obviously we haven't done that. So I had to set up some mouse traps, and I don't really feel good about killing anything. I looked at it and I says, well, I set up those those old-fashioned mouse traps with the clip on them. The only problem is I got frogs and I got birds and I got things like that. So it went back to watching a YouTube video of somebody making a rat trap out of a 55-gallon trash barrel. I built one of these about 4 years ago and used to clean up mice like nobody's business out of my garage. They used to go in there and chew up my blankets and shit and piss in them and everything. So what I would do is I learned from YouTube, is we put a little steel bar across the top of a trash can, and in the center we mounted a tin can, and on that tin can we put some little bungee strips on each end of the rod so that the tin can stays centered, doesn't move from one end to the other. But what happens is the mice and rats will climb over to that tin can where there's peanut butter lined in the center. As soon as they climb up on top of the can spins, the rat or the mouse falls down to the bottom. They can't jump too high enough to get out, and then you can either dispose of them, or if you want to kill them. You know, some people drown them. I think it's horrific. What I'd rather do is take all of them, place them in a 5-gallon bucket, and empty them at the local city hall at the building department, building building and safety, the department to make you sad. No, I'm just kidding, but. No, I'm able to relocate these mice and rats now from my garden, and I can drive them down on my way home, drop them off in a field, and not have to hurt them. But I learned this stuff from other people's ideas. I just don't use the water to kill the mice. And with the square foot gardening, Mel Bartholomew, I've taken his soil ideas and I've improved upon them. His soil medium for growing vegetables is 1 part vermiculite, 1 part peat moss, and 1 part compost. And in his mixture, he'd have to take about 5 different types of composts in order to get a very good nutrient-rich product. Because a lot of composts are made out of one singular thing, say like just banana peels or something. It's the residuals from the factory. So if you mix a whole bunch of the composts up, then you get actually something that's really good instead of just high in nutrients of one and lacking of the other. I went and used worm castings. Because in my opinion, worm castings far supersede, or far superior to compost, being that they lock in the nutrients in the worm casings. It's basically worm poop, worm shit, and it slowly releases through the plant as the plant needs it. It's also got root hormones growth in the chemicals that the worms expel. First of all, the worms do all the composting and turning for you, so you don't even need to do anything about that. And it's very high moisture retentive. So I've taken upon an idea and a concept that somebody else had, and I improved upon it and made it my own and made it a heck of a lot better. So I think that focusing on these things and you gathering all of this information, they're like tools. And when you're presented with something like today, actually with the mousetrap story, it took me a while. I sat there brooding on it going, what the hell do? I don't want to kill the frogs or the birds. I got to build these little tiny boxes maybe with a little hole in it so only the mouse can get in. But then I'm like, but then the frogs are going to get in for shelter and they're going to get their heads snapped off. And I really don't feel good about killing the mice. And then all of a sudden that popped in my head of that old idea that I had, the old concept, and applying it today. So moving forward, I think people focus, this is probably the biggest one, and I'll be saying this thing through the lifetime of the show, is that the aesthetics versus the functionality. And I can see this being the biggest problem in our society. Biggest problem for ourselves, the biggest problems in business and money, and basically getting your dream and any of your success, the thing. That's what we're getting back to, right? We're after the thing. Let's focus on the thing. Well, how can we get that thing to become what we want it to be when we're just focusing on how it looks? I mean, and this one goes off on everything, guys. It goes off on your happiness. I mean, you're sitting there with your trophy husband or your trophy wife. Do these people actually know you? Do they understand you? Do they make you feel good? Instead of just looking good? As we say a lot, do you want to be perceived as successful, or do you actually want to be successful? Do you want to be perceived as having a thing, or do you actually want to have the thing? So when we focus on just the thing and not the aesthetics, and I think we solely focus, just like we're talking about the billionaires, that's why these people are good at what they're doing. That's why they're a billionaire. And again, I'm not after being a billionaire. I just think it would be a very big job. It takes a lot of thinking, a lot of planning. It's a very big success, I would say, a big task, and it involves focusing on the thing. I think a lot of these aircrafts and stuff that SpaceX is making and stuff like that, they're all just so focused on what these things can actually do, the functionality. So if we just focus more on the functionalities, I think as time passes, we can start moving more towards the aesthetics and making things beautiful. I'm not against making things beautiful, but to me, there's a lot of time and there's a lot of trial and errors. There's a lot of things that I've tried in my life and that things didn't work. And in my opinion, our systems designs that we have around us, public education, the way we make money, the houses we live, the clothes we wear, the way we treat the earth, all of these things, where we get our resources, everything needs to be redone. And by focusing on the thing and the functionality, I've achieved what I call the alternative lifestyle design, and I live a life of total freedom. In fact, I'm super giddy about it. I think I'm going to make a show just about that, and maybe a pick-me-up kind of good feeling show. But yeah, I am completely and entirely happy with my life. There's a lot of things that I would like to add. I'd like to have more time to do more exercise and do a lot more cooking and spend a lot more time with my kids. But for the most part, when I think that my life's kind of hard and it kind of sucks a little bit, I look at other people's lives and I go, wow, I'm so glad I don't have that. It's not a competition or anything, and I'm not judging anybody, but I just see a lot of people focus more on, as I said, the aesthetics of things, the way things look, appear, the way they should be instead of the way they really are. So I want to move on and tell you guys a story of how I actually came to make really, really good money. And it was an interesting story on focusing on the thing, because there was a guy, this is in roofing construction, and years ago, probably about, about 8, 9, 10 years ago, I was using a certain product to make really good money. And it's basically it's a polyester roll. It's a fabric roll that's about 44 inches wide, and you've got to take this roll, lay down. So I'll make it simple. It's not really that exciting, but you've got to spray these adhesives, these coatings down, and then you got to put the roll on it. And what people did, my father and other people as well, is you'd get 2 guys to pick up this roll of fabric while it's flapping in the wind. You got to set it down just right. And I was just looking at the functionality of this whole thing and just standing back and going, how can I increase this thing? So I invented myself a little machine thing. And basically what it was like a giant toilet paper roller holder. And what happened is this roll, like a roll of toilet paper, would slide into this rack that I built out of steel and wood. And I had a few levers that apply pressure and things like that. And what you would do is you would have somebody spray as fast as they can spray the adhesives, the roof coatings, and as fast as you can walk backwards with this roll setter thing, it put the roll right on the line with the pressure levers that I had. It would actually cinch the roll, and you can pull any wrinkles or stretch it out or straighten it out. And I tested multiple times, and some of the people who seen me doing this were actually laughing, going, "Dude, you're just crazy." And then it was just me and one of my employees one day on my own job, and I finally got the thing dialed in, and we applied it, and we went to do a test run, and it flew. It just flew. And he goes, "You know what? You're going to be pointing and laughing and living above all your haters, aren't you?" And he goes, "You're going to make a lot of money with this thing." And I just looked and I says, "No, I don't really care about the denier, the haters, or the whatever's, the non-believers. I'll be too busy making money, enjoying my life, than wondering what the hell they're going to, laugh about next." So I focused on the thing over and over again, even though I was getting laughed at and people didn't understand what I was doing. And became to where a lot of these employees were scared, because they knew that if this thing really works and he gets this down, that's going to replace me. We've talked a lot about automation and things coming up, in this day and age. And I think we should all be aware of things like I just told you right now. I would have replaced about 3 or 4 employees by using that. So I didn't end up making a lot of my money and working. I found using that concept there, I actually went and found a new application that didn't even need polyester roll. So just as fast as you can apply it, and you don't need to embed any polyester fabric in it. And I made more money, and not a lot of people have been doing as of even late, or were doing it back then. So I was the only guy coming in offering this superior product, and it was like shooting fish out of a barrel, as they say. I made stuff. I took a concept. I focused on a thing, and it worked. I thought I would share that with you. And yeah, I'm a bit obsessive, I think, with things. I think anybody who is, you see, I think that there's a lot of people out there, and they're watching movies and they're having a good old time, right? They're going out to the bars and the clubs, and they're making money, and they're buying their friends drinks, and they're having a really good time. They're not really getting ahead. I don't think, and they're not really getting low. I think that a lot of people right now probably are. If they're not, they will be. They're going to be losing their asses because they don't know how to save. They don't know how to manage money. And they don't know how to focus on the thing. Or more about the aesthetics. But they get this, this one night off, or they're weekend warriors. You get your weekend off. But, certain people are doing things like that. There's people like me who are obsessing over, what can I do to gain more freedom? What can I do to obtain the thing that I want? Like, the thing, to me, to sum up the definition of this whole show for myself, is I want total freedom. I have a lot of freedom, I can take off, as I said, anytime I want. I can sit for a year, 2 years and not have to do anything really. But I don't choose to do that. I want to move myself forward to gain more freedom. And by the work and the things that I'm applying to in my life, I'm producing I want to produce a lot of my own food. I want to produce more of my own energy. I want to be able to, I want to be totally mobile. I want to be totally free. Like, I want a residual income. I want an online business. That's what I'm running for my garden business, my invention. And that's going to afford me to go anywhere in the world if I so choose to, and never have to really work at a normal, job, own my own business in construction, which I don't really like. I want to progress myself. So I'm focused obsessively on these things. How do I get this business going? How do I get things done? So while other people are having, as I said, a great time, there's those of us who on the weekends, we're working on this stuff. Our brains are constantly going on how can I get more of this? How can I produce? How can I share the information out there? How can I obtain more things, more of these things? And it's not necessarily a tangible, a physical thing, a good. I said it could be happiness, it could be whatever it is that you want. But yeah, I think a lot of us, the obsessiveness really, really helps. I think that you should learn to be able to shut it off though, because it does get insane. Like for me, for instance, I can't really even watch a regular movie. I can't watch a regular show. I'm always researching something. It's always something with me, like, how do I make what was some of the crazy shit I've been looking at? How do I make a water generator? How do I suck the moisture out of the air and without toxins, put it through a vacuum that goes through a coil and makes condensation, and then we capture all this stuff and store it underground or in vats? How can we do this on large scale using such things as cloud nets? If none of you have ever heard of it, it's just like basically a big old like shade cloth, kind of like this thin netting, like a screen. And when the wind blows the moisture, the droplets form on top of these giant like sail-like screens, like a sail for a boat. And all the water drops down, hits a piece of PVC pipe and is distributed wherever you want it. Just things like that. I'm looking at how you can make a solar-powered water generator where it blows air using geothermal and things like that. So you see, I don't know, it just gets all crazy. There's always something that I'm into. Next on this is the speed of time. And I think for a lot of us to attain the thing, to stay focused on the thing, there's a lot of time that's being robbed from us and that we're allowing. It's not being robbed from us. I think a lot of us are focusing on the wrong type of things. And as time, the momentum of time goes by, years and years go by, and we still haven't obtained the thing. But we're focused on the thing, but we're not. It's unobtainium, as they say in the movie. What was that I seen a few years ago? I can't remember, the blue people. Avatar. Unobtainium. I don't know why I keep bringing that one up in my vocabulary. Another cool one I heard too was hopium. You got to stop smoking the hopium pipe, man, because it ain't going to happen. But yeah, the speed of time, there's a lot of things that are happening, and I think it's we can't stay focused. Look at how much time has passed on the thing. Ask yourself, what is your thing? And what have you done to get it? How close do you see yourself of obtaining, of actually being successful at whatever you're doing, or obtaining that thing? And how many years have gone by? And how many years keep going by? And I think that this is a very strong, powerful observation that we need to do. And places where not just focusing on the thing, we need to focus on what we need to do to get to the thing, I guess is where I'm coming from. And I think this takes us into my last note here too, is to focus on the negatives. So a lot of people try to focus on the positivity. I said in one of my shows, people like me, we don't run from the problems. We actually run towards the problems. If there's a problem, I don't like sweeping it under the carpet. I know that thing is always there stopping me from getting my thing. So I need to focus and I need to relate to it. I need to define it and know exactly what it is. Then I need to focus on that and figure out what can I do to eradicate that from my life. There's a lot of things we said in this show. And I think it takes a lot of focus on the negatives. Always ask yourself the negatives. I think this is another big one in people's lives, is even though you are successful, say you built yourself a business, is probably the best one. You built yourself $1 million business. Well, somebody else, as I said, while you're sleeping, getting up at 8 o'clock a.m. and working a 9 to 5 job, and then going home for just your weekends. There's other people who are already up at 4 a.m. doing shit, making decisions, making things happen, trying to figure stuff out, applying things, seeing what results they get, constantly experimenting and running as we said, what was it, the functionality. They're doing experiments and seeing how well does this thing function? What's the ROI, the return on investment on this? And slowly they start building while you get too comfortable, and they will come and outsell you. They will come, maybe they'll grow so big that they'll actually force you to sell your company, or they'll gather all the attention. Many of ideas and thoughts and of the thing that I think that we all want to obtain is we get lost in the dream of stuff, not the reality of it. And I think focusing on the negatives and trying to bring up negatives. I love asking questions when I'm in my developmental stages of trying something, asking people's opinions. And I find a lot of different perspectives and angles at stuff where I said, whoa, I never would have thought of that. I mean, look what's happened here in 2020 with this pandemic and everything, and how many people are losing their shit. So always applying the negatives, try to seek them out, try to create negatives, try to look and go, what possibly could go fucking wrong? And focus, zero in on that. And once you get all of the kinks, we can't figure everything out, but as long as we don't go in there blindly trying to obtain the thing without looking at the possible negatives. That's about my time, guys. I only allot myself 30-minute shows here. We may possibly do a show every day this week. This is Tuesday's show here, and I've got some more time on my podcast. So basically, I have like a bank, right? And I think I got about another 2-3 hours that I'll be able to apply. So I might try to do some longer shows on here. But I hope that this helped you out today, guys. I hope that you get your thing. I hope that you stop focusing on the aesthetics and this bullshit that we have going on around us. As I said, this whole system's design of things that the way they should be. And I guess I can't say this one enough, is look around you, man. How many people are actually successful? A lot of us aren't going to be billionaires. We're not even going to be millionaires. I think we could be thousandaires comfortably, That's what I consider myself, as a thousandaire. It's a word I just made up. But I don't know. A lot of this stuff is not working. It's unobtainium, and things need to be redesigned. And only you know what the thing is that you're after. And I hope whatever I've shared today helps you to go obtain that thing. And get up, guys. Get up and go to work. Work hard on that thing. Don't give up. And go grab it, man. So if you like this sort of thing, check the show out. It's Up and In It on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, Facebook, and anywhere else you can hear the audio for podcasts. And as I always say, guys, don't lose your muchness. Go out there and have yourself a near-life experience. Carry on the fire. Human up. Live it, love it, own it, and bone it, my friends.